So when I was staying there, I thought, well, now's my opportunity to maybe start reading the Bible, go back to that, see if that's for me. And I had already looked into like Buddhism and even Islam a little bit, the Quran and whatever, but nothing too much appealed to me. And then I thought, okay, let's see. So I was familiar with the New Testament, but not the Old Testament so much. I thought, let's go from the beginning now and start reading. And I was reading and I thought, I couldn't really relate to it so well, and it didn't really answer my questions. So then I thought, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I should look elsewhere. But anyway, I felt in my heart, I want to become a healer. That's what I thought. It would be nice if I could heal people. And again, someone told me later that was in my chart. I've got that propensity. And then someone arranged that I go to Newcastle in the north of England to stay with someone on that community, Christian community's friend, who had a place there. And while I was there, I decided, I thought, okay, first I'll start with a massage course. I did a massage course, I got the qualification, but I didn't really do anything with it. And then when I was in Newcastle, I got a job in a vegetarian restaurant, and so I was working there, and then I had a friend who was also working there, and she said, oh, I sometimes go to the Hare Kṛṣṇa temple here, would you like to go? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'd been before, so. And then, actually, I didn't tell before, but as well as Soho Street Temple, I went to Bhaktivedanta Manor as well, the place that George Harrison donated to the devotees. And when I was there at that time, I thought, this is such a nice place and nice devotees. I'd like to stay here. But I didn't have the courage to approach the devotees and ask them, so I didn't. So I lost my opportunity. But anyway, so that time my friend took me to the Hare Kṛṣṇa temple in Newcastle, and then I really liked it. I liked the kirtan, I liked the talk. I thought that really makes sense. Of course, I liked the prasadam. And then, but I wasn't thinking of joining or anything, I just thought, this is nice. Didn't think it was my path or anything. But then, one time, my friend said the devotees, Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, are coming and they're going to put on a big festival here. Would you like to go? So I was like, yeah, why not? Okay. So then, the thing is, I was staying with this boyfriend at the time, He was an atheist. He wasn't interested in spirituality at all. And anyway, at that time, smoking a little bit of hashish and whatever with him, what you call ganja. And so my friend called me and she said, are you coming? It's starting or about to start. And I was like, okay, I'll go. So then I went, and then there was the devotees put on this beautiful festival. It was a kirtan. No, it was indoors. It was in this really huge kind of hall, and many people came. And then, there was kirtan, talk, Bharatanatyam dance, Indian classical dance, and then the drama at the end. And it was really the drama that captured me. Yeah, and they did it in a very professional way. It's Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, black devotee with Yadaraj Prabhu. They were so good, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu used to be a professional actor working in the Royal Shakespeare Company of Actors. So so I was like watching this, and I was like, wow, But it was like the message of the drama that really got to me, and then it just hit me.
Which story was it?
It was, I can't remember the name of the drama. You know, where the soul comes into lady's womb in this world, and the promise. It was called the promise, I think. You know, because when we come into anyone's womb in this world as a human being, then in Srimad Bhagavatam explains that the child may make a promise to God, you know, that they're feeling so much suffering in the womb, you know, being bitten by all kinds of insects or worms, and hot drinks, cold drinks, spices, like this. They're suffering so much, and then they're saying, oh, you know, this is too much for me. Oh God, please, I promise that when I come out into this world, then I will certainly serve you. But then, of course, when the child comes out, and the parents are, you know, giving so much love and affection to the child, all the family members around, and then maybe the child forgets. So this was the drama, you know, like this person going to school, maybe the child has some interest in spirituality, God, the teachers, oh, don't bother with that, you know. So then the child soon forgets, and so this particular person in the drama, finally, they I don't know, they attended a party or something. They found the Bhagavad Gita, and they were opening the Bhagavad Gita and reading the Bhagavad Gita, and wow, you know, and then they realized, oh, this is it. So I could really relate to that drama, the message of that drama, you know. I could see in my own life how I was searching and like this. And then at the end, one devotee was on stage speaking that, oh, you know, they were thanking everyone for coming and saying, well, we're doing actually a walk for peace from Belfast to Moscow, and if anyone wants to come, they're welcome. So I thought, great, I want to go, you know, my opportunity. So then I just approached one devotee after, you know, everything had finished, and that devotee's name was Jagatam Mataji, and she's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And then I was asking her all these questions. You know, I said I would like to join this walk for peace. Actually, it was Padayatra. Yeah, Pada means to walk, and Yatra means place. So going from place to spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with bulls, a cart, Gaunitai deities, chanting the holy names like this. So I didn't really know exactly what it was, but it sounded good, you know. Anyway, I was asking all these questions to Jagatam Mataji, and she was answering. She was very, very good, you know, answering my questions. And so then I said, look, please, can you help me with connecting with the devotees for this walk for peace, you know? And she said, yeah, sure. We exchanged numbers. Then she was supposed to call me, but she didn't, you know. I was like waiting for her to call. She didn't call. I had her number, but I was a little shy to call her. But I just thought, okay, surely she will call. Okay, in the end, okay, I'll call her, you know. So I called her, and then she said to me, look, why don't you spend a few days at Bhaktivedanta Manor? Just to see if you like it, you know. I think she was hoping that I'd go there and stay there. Maybe she thought Padayatra was a bit too much for me or something. I don't know. But I said okay, you know. And then I kind of knew that I wouldn't go there and stay. But I went anyway, and I did stay for a few days. And you know, it was nice. The program was nice, but I felt like a little impersonal, like devotees weren't speaking to me too much, you know. So I thought, anyway, I prefer to just go on the Padayatra. So then I went back to Newcastle, and then she arranged that I link up with devotees. Actually, by that time, a couple of weeks later, they were down in the south. And I'll just tell you this story because it's kind of a funny story. Because, you know, I said I was smoking hashish at the time. So then I thought, you know, if I'm going to join the devotees, I'll have to give that up, you know. And so then I went into a library. This was just before I joined the Padayatra. I went into a library, and this guy, he was, I was sitting in the cafe, and he came and sat on the same table, and I was like, okay. And then he said, well, can you tell me something about yourself? Like, oh no, he said, can you tell me something about me? Like, meaning him. And I was like, I don't know you, you know. And well, he said, can't you tell me anything? I'm like, not really. And then he said, well, you know, do you think I have manic depression? And do you think, actually I have, he said, actually I have manic depression. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, how did that come about? And he said, you know, I was smoking so much ganja, hashish, that the doctor said it caused a chemical imbalance in my brain. And I was like, oh, really? and I thought that would, like, as soon as I heard that was enough. I said, oh, that's it. You know, that's my that's my good reason to quit right now. You know, so it's like Kṛṣṇa sent this guy. You know, so then I gave up completely. And then I went down south to join the devotees there. And then, you know, so we were just like walking every day, from town to town, village to village, and then we were chanting like all day for hours and hours, and I loved it. The devotees were giving out leaflets, books, prasadam, and I was like, oh, what are you doing? And I said, okay, you know, they were giving me prasadam to give out, and then I was giving leaflets, and I was distributing books. I didn't know anything much, but anyhow. So then we went all the way through England, over to Holland, walked through all the places in Holland, Belgium, France, and you know, we didn't even know where we were going to stay each night. It was like there was an advance party that would go ahead and find the next place for everyone to stay. It could have been like a monastery, it could have been in a field, it could have been a school, yeah, anywhere. But I loved it, you know, it was like my type of life. So, and then they would have a morning program and give classes on Bhagavad Gita, which I really liked. And I was trying to read the Gita myself and like this. So then they got to France, and by that time it was getting quite cold. I don't know, you know, in Europe it gets pretty cold at the autumn time, you know. So I remember taking cold bucket baths in the forest, you know, outdoors in the cold. And, you know, they said, okay, after some time, like, let's leave it here and we'll return to England. And then they were going to start again next spring from France, from the place they finished, from France, and keep going. Like it was over a 5-year period they were doing that. So then I ended up, I said, where am I going to go now? You know, then there were these friends that I'd made on the Padayatra, and they said, okay, you know, if you want, you come with us. We're going to do the book distribution marathon in Manchester, which is where I was born. You know, there's a temple there, and it was, you know, coming like up to December. So I said, okay. So I did the book distribution marathon with them. So that was nice. And then after that, they said, okay, we're going to go to Inishraf in Ireland. And, you know, they said, do you want to come? I was like, yeah, sure. So then I went there. It was very nice, very beautiful. You have to go over on a boat to get to the island. And at that time, Tribhuvanath Prabhu was temple president there, and I really liked him. He was so like fired up, you know, he was so enthusiastic, and he did great kirtans, and he gave great classes. He was teaching us like Upadeshamrita, Shirshoupanishad. We were learning the slokas, the verses, and then so after like month or two, my friends were saying, okay, well, we're going to go to Bhaktivedanta Mana, and from there we're going to go back on the Padayatra, which was my plan. So, you know, it was kind of like they told Tribhuvannath Prabhu what they were going to do, but I asked him, and he didn't want to let me go, because, you know, at that time I was distributing books, bringing in some donations, and like he wanted me to stay in Innishraf. So I was like, I kind of felt sorry because they didn't have enough donation and enough money, and I was like, okay, I'll stay, but short time, and then I have to go back on the Padayatra. So he's like, okay. Then it was getting closer and closer to the time. So I approached him and I said, look, you know, I really have to go now. And he wasn't too happy, but he let me go. So then I went to the Mana, but when I got to Bhaktivedanta Mana, the devotees said, look, you know, they knew I was planning to go back on the Padayatra, but they said very soon there's going to be a Bhakta course and Bhaktin program. Would you like to join? And I said, well, how long is it? And they said 3 months. And I said, well, that means I won't be able to go back on the Padayatra. And they said, yeah, but it'd be really good if you could do this. And they told me, you know, how great it was. And then I said, okay, I'll do it. So it was a good choice, actually, even though Padayatra was so great, very exciting and everything. But doing that course was very helpful. You know, they taught all the basics, philosophy, all the etiquette, everything, you know, about cleanliness, so many things. So then I completed that course, and my service was book distribution. So I loved doing book distribution, but at that time there was 2 types of book distribution. One was the devotees would go out with this board and they would ask for donations for whatever, and then, you know, then afterwards if someone gave a donation, they said, oh, and here's a gift for you, you know, and they'd give a book. But I'd never liked that, you know. I always liked to just be straightforward and give the book and tell the glories of the book, you know, and then ask for donation. So I was doing that for some time, and then there was one devotee who was like the biggest Sankirtan devotee there in England at the time, and his name was Radhastami. And so he was training the devotees to do straight books. We used to call it straight books, just direct books. So I thought, yes, I want to be trained by him as well, you know. The opportunity was there. So he took out, you know, a group of men, a group of ladies, or what, it was, and then he was really good. And he, you know, if someone was distributing like 20 books, 50 books, he would do triple and quadruple and whatever everyone else was doing, you know. So you know, we all learned a lot from him, and then you know, he became interested in me personally, and